Not Rodney. My name's Dave.
Dave Hodgson, The Daily.
It's definitely Dave.
And let's go live now to Dom Aldworth. He's our man in the know. He's forgotten more than I ever will know about sport. Let's say good afternoon to Dom. How are you, Dom?
I'm very good, thanks, Dave. How about yourself?
Not too bad. What have you been up to this week? Much?
Yeah, just plenty of work, Dave. Plenty of work is my life away from sort of talking to you guys every Friday and to you on a Wednesday is in the sports industry. So, yeah, up to my neck in it completely and utterly with sport every single day.
Does it not start to die down over the next couple of weeks, over the Christmas period? I mean, obviously there's a lot of football fixtures in the UK, but Spanish football goes and there's a few other sports maybe where... Is it a bit quieter for you?
Not necessarily for me, Dave. Obviously, as you mentioned, you've got the likes of the Bundesliga and the French League, the Spanish League, which go into a bit of a Christmas break. The golf season is now starting to begin in the Southern Hemisphere, well, the European Tour, should I say, in the Southern Hemisphere in South Africa. The tennis season kicks off at the end of this month, but I also cover American sports, the likes of the NBA, which is currently going on every single day. I think you have at least 3 fixtures, and some days you have 12. And then the NFL season is now into week 14 of the NFL. The last of the regular season games get finished on the 30th of December, and then the playoffs begin. And then after that, obviously the NBA continues next year, and then you're moving into the baseball season, the hockey season, which is currently on a strike. And they've only just announced that they've wiped off another 2 weeks of matches, so that's not now due to start. Ordinarily, it would have done so. So in my world, there's always plenty of sport to get my teeth into.
You must have a very understanding girlfriend. That's all I'm going to say on that one, Dom.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, very, very, very much so. In fact, I'm very lucky from that side, actually.
Yes.
A job's a job. I'm just very grateful that I can do it in this fashion.
If she ever wants to ring up Naomi and give us some advice on letting me watch Match of the Day, I don't mind that at all. OK, let's have a quick look at... starting off with tennis then, Djokovic and Williams named ITF tennis champions.
Yeah, absolutely. The last couple of weeks I've been sort of breaking a little bit of news here and there to you on accolades which various sportsmen have won now that their seasons have come to an end. And Serena Williams and Novak Djokovic, it's their turn this week, and it's the ITF tennis champions of the year, those two players. It's the second successive year that Novak Djokovic has clinched this accolade. Also the second successive year he's finished as the world number one, Novak Djokovic. He successfully defended his Australian Open crown in January last year. Remember that epic 5-set thriller against Rafael Nadal. Right. He reached the final of the French Open, also the final of the US Open when he was down by Andy Murray. He claimed another 5 ATP Tour titles. 3 of those, incidentally, were Masters Series titles, 1 level down from a Grand Slam. And then who can forget just recently the World Tour Finals in London when he defeated Roger Federer in the final there. So another unbelievable season for Novak Djokovic, and an accolade richly deserved by himself. Serena Williams as well, an unbelievable year for her. Second half of the year, more importantly, she'd been struggling with injury in the first part. And a lot of people were thinking at the age of 32, perhaps her interest away from the tennis court were really now starting to get a grip of her life. But I think she proved them all wrong by winning Wimbledon in the summer, gold in the singles and the doubles at the Olympic Games at the All England Club, and that tremendous US Open victory at Flushing Meadows towards the end of the year. 48 of her last 50 matches of the season, Serena Williams won. And at the age of 32, she's now going into, I think it's her second decade at the top of the game. She's world number 3, and it's the 3rd time that she's won this accolade as well. So tremendous performance, Serena Williams, a tremendous athlete. Their season for tennis fans, just so you're aware, begins. It didn't finish that long ago, but it all kicks off again on the 27th of this month for the men at the Mubadala World Tennis Championships. This is an invitational event, and the great news is Rafael Nadal will be back for that after almost 6 months out with knee injury. So it's going to be great to see Rafael Nadal back just ahead of the Australian Open. And then on a more serious note, on the 30th of this month, the fine-tuning begins for the male and the female tennis players at Brisbane, and also the Exxon Qatar Masters as well, which will be taking place. So that's all in build-up to the first Grand Slam of the year, the Australian Open next year.
Just to say, Djokovic, obviously one of the great players now of tennis, certainly established that. But just to touch on Williams there, and both the Williams girls really dominated tennis, women's tennis, for the last 10 years, haven't they, really? That's no over-exaggeration, would you say?
No, not at all. Absolutely not, Dave. Serena Williams is the younger of the 2 sisters. Venus Williams, unfortunately, for the best part of more than a year now, has been suffering from a very rare illness, which has effectively ended her career. I know she probably thinks otherwise, but Serena Williams continues to go strong at the age of 32, and that sort of form that we saw in the second part of this year was pretty much how we've seen her play her tennis for the last 10 years. And just two marvellous athletes, and they just seem to be that much stronger and that much better on the courts than most of the other players out there. I mean, Victoria Azarenka, the world number one from Belarus, I mean, she's had a pretty good year. She's an excellent player, but just that athletic edge that the Williams sisters seem to have.
Yeah.
A little bit petulant at times on court, but nevertheless, I think they've got a haul between them of more than 20 Grand Slam singles victories, that is. That's not even to mention the doubles that they've won together.
And always fun to watch as well. OK, we've had some boxing this week. We've got some more action this weekend. Tell us more, Dom.
Yeah, we had some boxing on the weekend, and it was after a draw, two controversial losses. Juan Manuel Marquez finally got his man on the fourth attempt at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas on the weekend. Dave, he knocked out 8th division world champion Manny Pacquiao with a brutal right hand in the 6th round, knocking the Filipino superstar. He was knocked out for several minutes. I actually woke up to watch this fight. It was a tremendous fight until then, with both fighters having hit the canvas. Marquez, who had already had a broken nose and was really struggling at that stage to breathe. In fact, for one of the rounds, he had to remove his mouth guard because he couldn't breathe properly through his nose. But he was the one that managed to deliver that killer punch, that killer right hand straight to the face of Pacquiao. Look to talk now, Manny Pacquiao versus Juan Manuel Marquez 5. One of the great rivalries in boxing, certainly for the last 10 years or so. The promoters, I'm sure, will be looking to get a fight like that together.
Yes.
But there are one or two opportunities out there for both of these guys. There's been calls for Pacquiao at the age of 33 to now retire after a knockout like that. But he seems to think it was a lucky punch, and he's got plenty more in the tank. So it'll be interesting to see where that situation takes us. But this weekend, Dave, is a really, really big weekend for young Amir Khan, 26-year-old Amir Khan. Only last year, many of us were talking about him as the jewel in the crown of British boxing. Unfortunately, he's had a bit of bad luck over the last 12 months. Who will ever forget in Washington about a year ago against Lamont Peterson, who turned out to be taking performance-enhancing drugs in a very controversial decision, losing on points to Lamont Peterson, and in the process losing both of his titles as well. The WBA title was given back to him following the drug scandal which happened to Lamont Peterson. He then steps into the ring with Danny Garcia only 3 months ago. Danny Garcia, unfortunately, knocking Amir Khan out in the 4th round in a fight that he was very much in control of as well. Amir Khan, he'll be very disappointed looking back at that result. I'm sure he still feels that it was just a left hook that managed to catch Amir Khan. But it's now a rebuilding process for young Amir, and it's only 26. You know, he's got a great record, 29 fights, 26 wins, 18 by knockout, only 3 losses. We know where those 2 losses, 2 of those losses came. One of them was many years ago against Breeders' Prescott. But at 26, he's got time on his hand. He's made a few changes in his corner as well, Amir Khan. He's got rid of Freddie Roach, who was the trainer, a very successful trainer of Manny Pacquiao and many world champions in the past. And he's now switched to a guy called Virgil Hunter, who's trained the undefeated super middleweight champion, Andre Ward, for some time now, actually. So it'll be interesting to see if there's been any changes to Amir Khan, to his style. Carlos Molina is his opponent this weekend, a U.S. fighter, Mexican heritage. We all know the Mexican fighters are very good. A real unknown quantity, this guy. He's only had 17 professional fights. 17 he's won. Same age as Amir Khan. He comes from a bit of a good stock of boxing history. His 2 older brothers have been reasonably successful boxers. But still not much to say about this Carlos Molina, but I seem to think that Amir Khan, this could very well be a second coming for him. There's no question about this guy's Amir's credentials. We've seen it in the past in his Olympic success and his early success in his professional career. So we wish him the best for this weekend. OK, got to move on. Lots to get cram in. Golf and short saw wins in Thailand. Yeah, about time too. He won the US Masters way back in 2011, 20 months ago. It was his first tour when he cruised to an 11-shot victory in the Thailand Golf Championship. Flawless 65 to close 7 under par to finish on 25 under par, 11 shots clear of the rest of the field. Coincidentally enough, the current holder, Bubba Watson, of the US Masters. So tremendous stuff there for Charles Foster. He's back in action alongside European Tour players in South Africa this weekend at the stunning Leopards Creek Golf Course for the Aldworth Downhill Championship. Fantastic. And Rugby Heineken Cup Roundup. Yeah, Heineken Cup Roundup. It was week 3 of the group stages. Claremont ended Leinster's 17-match unbeaten run in Europe when they were beaten 15 points to 12. Clermont are now top of Pool 5 with 3 wins from 3. There were also wins for Leicester, Montpellier, Munster over Saracens, Racing Metro beat Edinburgh, Toulon remain unbeaten. That's Johnny Wilkinson's team following a victory over Sale. There were also wins for Harlequins, Exeter, Toulouse, Connaught, Castres, while Ulster made it 13 wins from 13 in all competitions when they beat Northampton 25 points to 6, effectively ending their European journey. It continues this weekend. Couple of select fixtures for you. Round 14 of the group stages of the Heineken Cup. Leinster versus Clermont, Bern, Ulster versus Northampton, Saracens versus Munster. And a little bit of breaking rugby news just this morning coming out of the wires there. Andy Farrell, Graham Roundtree and Rob Howley will accompany Warren Gatlin as the assistant coaches for the 2013 Lions to Australia. Roundtree and Howley are no strangers to this position. They did form part of the coaching setup for the British Lions in 2009 when they went to South Africa. Andy Farrell, for me, will offer a great option there as the defensive coach. We remember his tremendous career for Wigan and Rugby League, a very defensive-orientated sport, and I think Andy Farrell's going to bring plenty to the party for the British Lions next year.
Yeah, and of course England continuing in India with the fourth test in the cricket starting tomorrow, of course.
Absolutely, plenty of momentum as well. Let's not forget the last time England won in India was in 1984 under David Gower.
Yeah.
It's funny how you always remember the winning captain of the series, and certainly Alistair Cook has done absolutely that from his own personal performance point of view and leading England to put them in the 2-1 position going into the final test at Nagpur. There will be a result on this wicket. That is the word coming on the ground there. And whether it lasts 5 days or not remains to be seen, but they reckon this could be all over within 3.5 to 4 days. A couple of injury concerns despite the momentum that England bring into this test match. Stuart Broad, who has been ruled out this morning and might miss the 2020 series as well. Let's not forget he is the captain of that 2020 series. He's suffering with a heel problem. Stephen Finn, who replaced Stuart Broad in the last test match, has pulled up with a back strain. He's England's quickest bowler. He's going to be missed, but they will certainly be replaced by Tim Bresnan, who's more than capable of performing for England, as we've seen before in the Ashes. He's ready to step in. And let's just remind you once again, this could be the first England Test Series victory in India since 1984. I think Alistair Cook was 2 years old at the time, and Margaret Thatcher was still in power in England.
I remember Gower being the captain as well. It'd be great to get that. There was a big debate on the radio the other day. I can't remember who it was talking, but one was saying Alistair Cook isn't as good as everybody are making out, and the other person was saying he is absolutely brilliant. And I've got to say that for me, I think he's a brilliant cricketer.
Well, I'd like to meet the person that said that everybody's overinflating his career, because I think that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Alistair Cook is quite simply England's greatest opening batsman of all time. Even at the age of 27, his records and statistics already suggest that at the age that he's at. And whoever said that really doesn't know too much about cricket, I can assure you.
Well, you don't have to know much to know that he's good. I mean, I'm not an avid cricket fan, but I'm following his career and what he's and what a great way to lead a team as well. You know, when you're at the top of your game there, to lead a team being the captain as well. What a great opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, there's two players in world cricket that are currently doing that, Dave, and Michael Clarke from Australia is one. He took over the captaincy of Australia about 12 months ago. I mean, he's had a record-breaking year with the first batsman to score 4 double hundreds in Test cricket in a calendar year. Alistair Cook is hot on his tails as the second leading run scorer in Test match cricket this year. He's got 4 consecutive Test match hundreds now for England, over 1,000 runs this year as well. He's the youngest, he's now the most successful English batsman when it comes to Test centuries. He sits on 23. He's the youngest Englishman to score 7,000 Test runs at the age of 26. What more can be said? I mean, the guy's not even halfway through his career.
Okay, and just finally, quickly, we were, I think this time last year, talking about the pressure on Arsene Wenger. We're talking about it again this time this year, after this Bradford League Cup match last night.
Seems to be building, Seems to be building. I mean, of course, he's been there for 16 years now. It's been a while since they won a trophy, and this was a really good opportunity for Arsenal to win the trophy. I know the big clubs, the League Cup, the Capital League Cup, is not really top of the agenda come the beginning of the season. But, you know, really this was a great opportunity for them just to get the fans off his back a little bit. I think it'll put a smile back on the fans' face. There's no question about Arsenal's quality, but there's a huge question marks against their consistency. And last night really highlighted that as well. It was a very strong Arsenal team that was put out. So to go down to Bradford on penalties would have been hugely disappointing for Gunners fans, no question about it. Arsene Wenger's dealt with this pressure before. He always has the full support of the board. you can understand that to a certain extent. They're still in the Champions League. You mustn't forget about that. And the season in the Premier League has still got a long, long way to go. But, huge disappointment.
We mustn't forget, well done to all you Bradford fans out there as well. Well done to Bradford for taking the game to them as well. Brilliant. Dom.
Very much so, yeah.
Thank you very much for spending time with Dom. You get so much packed into 20 minutes. It's great to hear, and it's a great roundup and keeps you up to date with all that's happening. For those of us who are a little bit busy all the time, it's good for us to catch up on all that's happening in the sports world as well. So, Dom Aldworth, thanks. And, of course, just tell us briefly, Dom, anything you got planned for this Friday, if you know it at the moment?
Well, I mean, I don't want to make any promises. We are I'm currently working on Barcelona players Gerard Piqué. They've got a massive game this weekend against Atletico Madrid. A huge game that is for Barcelona. We are currently working on hoping to see if Gerard Piqué might be able to have a word with us. If we don't land him this week, we might very well do over the Christmas period. Ricky Hatton will be talking to me as well, but not this Friday, unfortunately, when he returns from holiday. That's all being confirmed. But I'll have my usual cast in there with me, Richard Twilsley and Stuart Joseph.
Of course. If you want me to, I'll have a quick chat with PK when I'm having a drink with him later on. See if he'll come on. Dom, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, Dave.
Cheers, Dom. See you soon. Dom